I think it's a wrestling problem where, like, at the moment, it just seems very hard to book talents that are from, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Mexico
I don't mean that to
or
make
Japan.
like a WWE exempt. WWE are not exempt from
Yeah.
this. They obviously they have a history of mishandling, you know,
Foreign
Japanese talent.
talent,
as
yeah.
well.
That's
but
why-
yeah, you would have thought, especially because of the founding fathers of who AEW are, that New Japan Japanese talent would have had a better time in AEW than they have had.
I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's why for me, like, it sounds mad, but I'm very, even when I remember the Okada episodes, I wasn't here. Like, I am very skeptical of Japanese talent coming to the States.
Bro, it's
I'm not a fan.
And I agree.
I am not a fan of the way these lot are treated over here.
Now, that being said, do you want a hot take? Kazuchika Okada should sign with WWE. Yeah, I said it. He is done with professional wrestling and has done it at the highest level for many years, and it is time to become a WWE superstar. And I ain't saying this just to rile up the internet, I truly mean this. With the kind of talent this man possesses, Okada will do just as well in the hands of Triple H as the hands of Tony Khan. If you go around asking people who is the greatest Japanese wrestler of all time, you'll hear the name Okada countless times. And do you know what the most surprising part about all of this is? The dude is only 36 years old. He can still compete at the highest level possible for the next 4 to 5 years, and any booker would want Okada in their promotion. With that being said, I firmly believe that Okada already fits the bill of a WWE superstar. Don't get me wrong, he will be a great addition to the AEW roster, but Okada isn't any ordinary Japanese wrestler. He deserves the maximum exposure possible and the presentation of a king. So without wasting any more time, I'm Mex the WrestleManiac, and let me tell you why Kazuchika Okada belongs in WWE. Hit the like button and subscribe to WRESTHINGS. Okada's career began in Mexico in 2004, and it wasn't until 2007 that we could actually see Okada in New Japan Pro Wrestling. However, Okada failed to achieve any major success immediately. Still, the company saw Okada as the guy that would be the face of the company in the future, and the company sent Okada over to TNA to get even better. One would think that Okada would have been a success in TNA, but no. The company saw him as nothing more than Samoa Joe's cameraman. Despite all the setbacks, Okada learned, he got better, and he knew what was missing in his career, and that was a proper gimmick. This is how the Rainmaker gimmick came to life. Okada needed to feel special, so he came up with a gimmick of a prince with a grand entrance that includes fake money falling from the ceiling. He mixed his experiences in Mexico and the style of wrestling along with his exposure to sports entertainment with his time in TNA. To say that this worked would be a massive understatement. It made Okada look like $1 million. But you need more than a fancy entrance to win the trust of Japanese wrestling fans that have a strong affection with in-ring competition, and boy, did Okada excel in that too. Okada went on to have a feud for the ages where he got into a hot rivalry with Hiroshi Tanahashi, who was widely regarded as the greatest New Japan Pro Wrestler star of all time. Okada wanted to surpass Tanahashi in every aspect, and the two would go on to have a series of classic matches for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Okada would even go on to snatch Tanahashi's record of the combined number of IWGP Heavyweight title defenses, which further cemented Okada as the greatest New Japan star ever. While I can go on and talk about the great feuds Okada had with other stars, it was his feud and matches with Kenny Omega that brought new eyes to New Japan Pro Wrestling. The first match the two had at Wrestle Kingdom 11 is often cited as the greatest professional wrestling match ever. And while it is his personal opinion and it shouldn't affect your personal taste in wrestling, Dave Meltzer rated that match 6 stars for the very first time, and it got people who didn't even know Okada or Omega at the time to take notice of both stars. The 4 matches the two had together are some of the most talked about matches of the 2010s. Okada had a run of a lifetime, and while many thought that he would remain loyal to New Japan for his entire career, it came as a shock when it was revealed that Okada would be leaving the promotion at the end of January 2022. 2024 when his contract was due to expire. Many claim that his exit is related to monetary reasons, while others say that he simply wants to try out something new. Okada has of course considered the option of wrestling in the US seriously, and this is where WWE enters the picture. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with Okada signing with AEW. I mean, who doesn't want to see Okada wrestle Omega again? Who doesn't want to see Okada feuding with Swerve Strickland? Who doesn't want to see MJF berating Okada on the mic? Who doesn't want to see Okada have a barn burner of a match with Hangman Adam Page, Jon Moxley, or his old friend Samoa Joe? Who doesn't want to see Okada going after the AEW world title? I wouldn't mind any of that at all. However, this is where things might get a little stale in the sense of, given the current landscape, he wouldn't actually need to leave New Japan to face any of those names, given the partnership between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm sure the presentation would be quite similar to what we now have of the Rainmaker as well. Whilst there's nothing wrong with that, as wrestlers like Okada are once in a lifetime type wrestlers, don't you think that Okada would realistically want to do more at this stage of his career? And maybe even start plotting for the next stage of his career. Tony Khan knows that his fan base watches New Japan Pro Wrestling passionately, and he wants to preserve the legacy of famous Japanese wrestlers. He would never meddle with Okada's legacy, and he would continue to book Okada as himself. Plus, he would also allow Okada to perform at New Japan occasionally, just like other AEW stars have. However, some would argue that we're still waiting for Tony Khan to give a big spotlight to current Japanese talents on his roster, and he has not proven he is any better than WWE when it comes to booking those talents in a US promotion. But I personally don't think Okada would suffer a similar fate. However, imagine what Okada could do in the hands of someone like Triple H. Triple H, who has gone on record saying he is actively working to mend relationships and general perception of how Latino and Japanese talents have been booked historically on WWE TV. Triple H would treat Okada like an actual superstar. He will take the best elements of Okada's persona and elevate them even further with the excellent production of the company. Yeah, Tony's got the money, but AEW's production crew isn't on WWE's level. That's not a knock on AEW, it's just a fact. Okada's biggest weakness in the US would be his mic skills, but this isn't a determining factor in his success, as there's many ways around this. A great manager by his side would cover that up effectively. High quality vignettes with voiceovers could work to push storylines further, or even a touch of the recent treatment Shinsuke Nakamura has been offered, where he's cutting promos in Japanese and there are subtitles on screen. Regarding Nakamura, say what you want about him losing to Seth and Cody, but his presentation on the main roster as of late is the best it's ever been. If Okada shows up in WWE, he would be treated like that, if not better. My argument is based heavy on presentation, spectacle, and pageantry, which are some of the things I love most about wrestling and WWE in general. And I firmly believe that this is all it will take to make Kazuchika Okada an overwhelming success, as he has the rest of the minerals to make the other factors come to life. There is even an element of Okada following the WWE style to preserve his career and somewhat take it easy like Nakamura has done, as stylistically WWE will be much easier. We don't want all our goats off TV suffering with injuries and physical pain like we're currently seeing with his longtime rival Kenny Omega. I would even advocate for Okada to have like a Roman Reigns, CM Punk type schedule, where he may not be on TV weekly, but when he's around, it feels like a massive occasion. Think of the likes of Brock Lesnar. When we hear that coin drop, we know business is about to pick up. While many thought Will Ospreay would have also done great in WWE, signing with WWE was never Ospreay's dream. Wrestling at WrestleMania is on Okada's wish list, and deep down, Okada knows that this is the right time for him to accomplish that goal. Okada could show up before WrestleMania and could realistically have a program with AJ Styles or Nakamura, superstars he knows very well. But with rumours of him being WWE bound and him appearing in NXT first, Triple H may want the fans to get familiar with Okada, as most of the WWE audience doesn't keep up with New Japan. While I think Okada should debut on the main roster, I certainly wouldn't mind Kazuchika Okada versus Ilya Dragunov. As of right now, it's hard to predict where Okada will land, but one thing's for sure, Okada will accomplish great things wherever he goes. He's just too good, man. Do you think Okada is heading to WWE? If not, let me know if you think Tony Khan would treat Okada like the biggest star in AEW in the comments below. And if you ain't down with the idea of Okada moving to an American promotion at all, I hear that, and I also invite you to click the video on the screen to hear what the Mandem had to say about how Japanese talents are treated in America.